Om 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 Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shantihi. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om Om Sadashiva Samarambham Sankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Samasta Jana Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidwaram Sadgurum Brahma Vidwaram. Om Shri Chinmaya Sadgurave Namaha. Hari Om. Uttarayanam and Makara Sankranti. Greetings to all. Wish you a very happy Pongal and all celebration all over the country in whatever name it is being celebrated. This festival of harvest, this festival of change of seasons, this festival of change in time, and bestowed with more energy, more love, and more harmony. I wish you all a very, very happy festival time. So in the last week, the vision of Vedanta, we began with this text called Sadhana Panchakam. Sadhana Panchakam is 5 verses on what practices we may undertake in our life. Each verse contains about 8 practices, and so the 5 verses amounts to about 40 practices, or rather 40 thought patterns or belief patterns that we may have, and we may work on them and execute them, so that at every moment in our life there is always this inward attunement of the mind. The mind, which is constantly looking outside, if it has to be pushed inside, there needs to be a certain change in our belief systems, in our understanding of what we need to do and do them. So that is what in the Patanjali Yoga Sutra also, Maharshi Patanjali mentions initially that Vrittayaha Panchatayaha Klishta Aklishtaha. At all times, the mind is moving in 5 directions, in 5 different ways, and these 5 different modes or modifications of the mind give us trouble or remove us, take us far away from trouble. Give us trouble means take us away from ourselves. Remove trouble means bringing the mind close to itself. Klishta, aklishta. So the idea behind the sadhaka should keep his mind in a state where it is aklishta, where he is remaining in his self, or self-awareness, self-consciousness. Self-consciousness does not here mean body consciousness, but consciousness about the true self, the true reality of awareness itself. So in this manner, the first verse we saw, the whole content of which is there in the last Sunday's video. Today we will go into the second verse. It's very beautiful. Each verse is so beautiful, and each verse gives us many tips that even if we follow one in our lives, we can make great progress in our spiritual path. Sangasatsu vidhiyatam bhagavataha bhaktirdridhadhiyatam shantyadif parichiyatam drudhataram karmashu santyajyatam sadvidwan upasrapyatam pratidinam tatpaduka sevyatam brahmaikaksharam arthyatam shruti shiro vakyam samakarnyatam. It is so beautiful to chant and read, and even meditate upon these verses. But knowing the meaning can make it even more beautiful. Sangaha satsu vidhiyatam. You make your life in such a way that you seek satsanga. Sangha satsu, meaning you attach yourself to those people, those groups of people who are contemplating on the self the way you're trying to do. Sangha satsu vidhiyata. The power of satsanga has been told in so many ways by so many Mahatmas. There is Tulsidas ji says, Binu satsanga viveka na hoi. Without satsanga, there is going to be no right discrimination. Right discrimination means around us there are many thoughts, there are many feelings, there are many emotions, there are many belief patterns, and there are many convictions that we can choose from. When we choose the right conviction, the thought pattern, and when we identify with it, meaning we become one with it, then those convictions and thought patterns will start working out in our lives. So it is very important to seek right company so that we get the right thoughts. What do people give each other actually? At all times, through their body, through their mind, and through their intellect, people are giving each other, gifting each other with thoughts through the movement of the body. They're giving certain thoughts through the feelings and emotions and the vibrations that are generated from the mind. They're giving us thoughts, and through the decisions and the different belief systems, they're giving us thoughts. So when we associate with the right kind of thoughts, the right kind of beliefs, we will move on the right direction in our life, meaning we will have a life that is aklishta, where we are moving towards ourself. Sangaha satsu vidhiyata. Adi Sankaracharya has spoken about satsanga in nearly every Prakarana Grantha that he has written. In the Bhajagovindam alone, there are 2 verses on the power of satsanga, very famous verses. Satsangatve nisangatvam, nisangatve nirmohatvam, nirmohatve nishchalatatvam, nishchalatatve jivan muktihi. So when we aim for freedom, what is jivan muktihi? Freedom of mind, meaning the mind is realizing that there is a state of freedom at all times, and it does not need to be agitated or suffer or worry any kind of a limitation. There is no limitation, there is only freedom at all times. So to get to this understanding is not an easy process. So that is called jivan mukti. While living, I live in this understanding that there is freedom at all times for me on the path that I need to choose. So how to arrive at that freedom? There is a ladder of climbing towards the freedom. What is the first step? Satsangatve. When I get into a satsanga, what happens to me? Nisangatvam. I am detached. Detached from what? The mind is constantly attached. It is plugged into the world. It is a 5-pin plug. We usually know about 3-pin plugs. Maybe for bigger mechanisms and bigger machines, they may have more pins in the plug point. But this mind has got a very strong 5-pin plug. The 5-pin, it may be even 2 pins here, 2 pins here, that makes it 4, 2 pins here, which makes it 6, and then the tongue is a 7th pin, and the skin with all its pores is multiple crores of pins. So this plug point, actually multiple crores, through all this, all the nervous endings are all one plug point connected to the surroundings, connected to the situations, connected to the people, connected to the objects around us. So this very strong attachment is there. of the mind to the world outside. So when I enter into satsanga, when in the satsanga, there is story of some Mahatma going on, there is story of some Bhagavan like Shri Krishna or Shri Rama going on. I am concentrating on the story. My mind is turned inward. And even it's our common experience. We don't need to go to a satsanga. When we go to a movie also, when we are inside the cinema theater, especially for a matinee show, we might go at around noon time for the matinee show, maybe 11:30 in the morning. We enter into the theater. It will be very bright and shining outside, very hot also. We enter into the air-conditioned theater and we tune into the movie. For 3 hours or 3.5 hours, we may be watching the movie. We are completely cut out from the outer surroundings of that cinema theater. And we are living in the movie, we are crying with the movie, we are laughing with the movie, we are engaging in the movie, we are excited about the movie. Now replace that movie with satsanga. We cry with Sita, we laugh with Hanuman, we feel powerful with Rama, we understand the machinations of the Kauravas through the very clear mind of Sri Krishna. We feel sorry for Arjuna, the plight of Arjuna. So many things we feel in a satsanga. Or even we may be contemplating about yoga, about meditation. And so that is our movie in a satsanga. So when this person comes out of the movie theater, it will be raining so heavily, pouring. He might not have even had the feeling or experience of one drop of water of the rain. So that is the nissanga that has happened with the outside world in the movie theater. So in the satsanga, we have nissanga with the world outside, world of thoughts, world of emotions, world of feelings, world of seeing, hearing, tasting, smelling and touching. So there is a nissanga when we attain into satsanga. Satsangatve, nissangatva. That's the second step. Nissanga means I'm free. I'm focused on what I am doing inside that satsanga theater or in the movie theater. Nissangatva. So when I become nissanga, when I'm detached from the world outside, what happens? Nissangatve, nirmohatva. Whenever there is a lot of confusion, you take one little part of it and you work on that object or on that person or on that emotion or thought or situation. Then you get a lot of clarity. So that's called nirmoha. Moha means there is no confusion. There is no confusing between one object and the other, one thought and the other, one emotion and the other, one belief or the other. There are no confusions in my mind. It is like there is a messy room. You clean up the messy room and every object is in its place. You know very clearly which chair is where, what are the contents of the fridge, or how is your bookshelf, which book is in which place. When you finish cleaning and clearing and arranging everything in order, then everything is in order. You don't have to be scrambled here and there. There is no confusion and there is no draining of energy because of confusion. That's called nirmohatva. Then what happens, the third step, nirmohatve, I climb to the next step. When there is no moha, I am able to sit quietly. I am able to sit happily. I am able to sit joyously. I am able to sit peacefully. I am able to experience peace. I am able to experience joy. Experience maybe not bliss, but at least some relaxation I'm able to experience. That is called nischala tattvam. The body is not moving. The body is not agitated. The breath is not agitated. The mind is relaxed. The intellect is very convinced and very sure that the path that you're going on is right. When you do the right thing in life, there is no doubt that whether I may be wasting my time sitting in a satsanga or listening to some Mahatma, there's no doubt inside, because what feels good, the body knows. Even the body of a baby knows what feels good for it. So nischala tattvam, nischala, when that nischala, when everything becomes still, the mind becomes still, the breathing becomes still, the body is still, the emotions are feeling still. Stillness means there is no craving for this and that. There is no agitation for this and that. There is no special wanting for something to fulfill me. I feel so fulfilled. That moment comes all because of satsanga. Nischala tattve jivan muktihi. So satsanga leads to that you climb the 4 flight of steps of satsanga, you reach jivan muktihi. Sangha satsu vidhiyata. In the other verse also about in the Bhajagovindam, Adi Sankaracharya, that's a very beautiful verse. Importance of satsanga. Kate kanta dhanagata chinta vatulakim tava nasti niyanta. Kate kanta dhanagata chinta. What is it, my dear child? You're always thinking about how I'm going to get a wife, my beloved to support me, or always I'm thinking about how much money I'm going to earn so that I can be peaceful. Vatula, oh my little boy, my little child, nasti niyanta. Don't you think that you have loving people around you? When we say nasti niyanta, we say, don't you think that there is a God to protect you? But actually, the God that we really look for, the God that we search for, is not some form or some figure somewhere that we cannot see. That God is expressing in the form of love through all the people who surround us, who love and care for us. So that is our niyanta. Those are the people who take care of us in our life. It can be the father, it can be the mother, it can be the brother, it can be the sister, it can be the friend, it can be the cousin, it can be our colleagues, it can be our teachers, it can be our masters, it can be our guru. We are surrounded by a very loving support system in our life. Whether we know it or not, whether we appreciate it or not, whether we like it or not, all the time we are surrounded by loving people, loving relatives, loving friends. It is up to us to keep it loving. When we give love, we receive love. So it is a parasparam bhavayantaha. So there is a system around us to take care of us and protect us at all times. So we don't need to worry about all that. Whatever we need to eat, the body needs to eat. Whatever the body needs for clothing, whatever the body needs for shelter, will be provided, is being provided, and shall be provided. Whether by the individual families, the societies, the communities, the city, the state, the government, the whole country, or even the whole world. Constantly we are working for each other, and it is happening. Nasti niyanta, he asks, why are you worried so much about all this? Don't you think you have somebody to support you? Even when you are stranded in some place, when you have left your purse at home, there will be that experiences happen. You feel so touched when such experiences happen. There was a time when I went by cycle when I was in Chinmaya Kripa in Coimbatore. And usually the purse is there with me when I go out. I went somewhere to eat. I was alone. It's a regular place that I have visited. And so in that, it's a hotel. And in that place, I'm sitting for eating. Only then I finished my eating. Only then I open to pay the bill. The money is not there. That waiter who keeps every day seeing me, he did not go and ask anybody, can this Amma bring her cash later on and all that. The waiter gave it out of his pocket for me. It happens at all times. So nasti niyanta, trijagati, this is called satsanga. When you're constantly engaged in right conversation with people, in loving conversation, satsanga is not about talking about the self. Satsanga is also about love. Satsanga is also about service. Satsanga is engaged in doing good for each other. So that is satsanga. And satsanga is not something that happens only in an auditorium. It happens only in a satsang hall. It happens everywhere. When you go and meet a person on the road, you say Hari Om to that person. You say Namaste to that person. That is a satsanga. It's a 1 minute satsanga. And so, Trijagati Sajjana Sangatihi Eka Bhavati Bhava Arnava Tarane Nauka. When we want to cross this ocean of samsara, satsanga is the boat in which we can travel. Whenever we travel by train, when we travel by train alone and we don't know the people around us, sometimes we may get good company. Sometimes we may have to travel with our own books for our company. We don't know. But whenever we are going on a yatra or a great pilgrimage, and you see many compartments of our train is filled with the people whom we know, just imagine how energized the whole compartment becomes. Everybody gathers around and we talk, we discuss about the same things. That is called a satsanga. And even if it's a 2-day journey, we don't know the travel time because we are engaged in constant uplifting thought throughout the time. So sangha satsu vidhiyatam. When I associate myself with satsanga, my mind is easily turned inward. Bhagavataha bhaktihi dridha adhiyatam. Always have firm faith that there is Bhagavan, there is Ishvara. When I say Bhagavan, Ishvara, you might say I don't believe in God. But there is nobody who does not know what is love. There is nobody on this earth. They may be an atheist. They may be even a terrorist. But the terrorist has somebody in their family whom he loves. The terrorist also is working for a cause which he loves very dearly. That is what is giving him the power for his terrorist activities. So, we do not need to think that Bhagavan is somebody in some form or some name that is there. Bhagavan is simply love. An embodiment of love is Bhagavan. Somebody who loves to help us. Somebody who loves to show us the right path. Somebody who loves to wipe our tears. Somebody who loves to speak words of comfort. They are waiting to help us. So those are the people. Have faith in those people. Have faith in those people. Have faith in those beings who are there to help us and serve us and take us through this journey. Bhagavataha bhaktihi dridha adhiyatam. Have firm faith. Even in life, whenever you are facing a difficult situation, if, as I've already mentioned in one of these talks, I have written an article where I interviewed an organization that counsels for suicide victims. People who are wanting to commit suicide, they will make a phone call last minute, and there will be volunteers who will talk to them, talk them out of the suicide, and then give them rehabilitation. So when I met that person who is working on this, they did a study and they found that 60% of the suicide cases are people who do not have any devotional orientation in their life. They don't have any faith orientation in their life. They don't have any kind of a belief systems in their life that they hold on to. So, bhaktihi dridha adhiyatam. When you have firm faith in the divine, that the divine will help, that you will get help at the right point of time, then that will become your reality. Shanti adihi parichiyatam. Familiarize yourself with the emotions like Shanti. Emotion means energy in motion. When mind gets into motion, we experience emotions. And when we experience certain emotions, we feel more agitated. We don't like that sense of agitation. It is always oscillating between like and dislike, hatred and love. Certain emotions, certain movements of the mind, it makes us feel good. Everything is klishta and aklishta. Aklishta means we feel good. Klishta means we move away from ourselves, so we don't feel good about it. Agitation is not our nature. We are not all the time agitated. So when agitation comes, we don't feel good. Anger is not our nature. So when anger comes, we don't feel good. Then hatred is not our nature. So when we experience hatred, we don't feel good. Love is our nature. So love is close to our nature. So we feel good. Harmony is close to our nature. So we feel good. Then peacefulness is close to our nature. Bliss is close to our nature. So we feel good. So Shanti adihi parichiyatam. Familiarize yourself with feelings like Shanti. Shanti means, basically in Vedanta, there are 6 qualities, which is called Shama Adi Shatka Sampattihi. Shama means, the word Shanti comes from Shama. Shama means peace of mind. The mind is not creating any kinds of desires of wanting this or that, wanting to go here and go there, wanting to meet this person or that person. When the desire is created, the want is there, then you feed that want, then it becomes words, you start thinking in words, the words will start coming out into our speech and then into our actions, then our leg will go, the whole body will go and try to fulfill that desire. So when the Shanti means to keep the mind in such a state where there are no desires also arising in the mind. So then you have Shanta, Danta, you have Dhamma. Dhamma means if you cannot control the mind, then the next best is to control the sense organs. Close the gates so that the mind does not go out. Close the gates means close the gates of the eyes, the ears, the nose, um, the tongue and the skin. Shama Dhamma. Then Uparama is a third quality where you quieten the mind with Shama and Dhamma, and then you give, even when you want to develop a good habit, it is not only important to remove something bad, it is very important to replace that bad habit with a good habit. So what is a good habit that you're going to replace it with? Uparama. You're focusing on the work that you need to do. Whatever work in your hand, whatever comes to you that demands your attention, some organized good work that is demanding your attention, focusing on that work is called Uparama. Then you have Titiksha. Once you lock the mind in the work that needs to be done, then Titiksha is other distractions will come, other pinpricks may come in life. Put up with them. Put up with them without paying much attention, just allowing them to pass. Titiksha. Then have Shraddha or faith. And Samadhanam is just keep the mind quiet. You've tried with a lot of effort to bring the mind quiet. Let it stay that way. That is called Samadhanam. And so these are the qualities that we need to cultivate. Cultivate means parichiyatam. Parichiya, chi, chaya. To collect those qualities, to seek those qualities and have them in abundance. So that is why it is called sampatti or wealth. Wealth is something we collect. We go and collect gold, we collect silver, we collect jewels, we collect many precious stones and keep it with us because they are of value. The same way, these qualities we search and we collect. Parichiyatam, dridhataram karma ashu santyajyatam. Firmly desire to give up all actions that are desire-ridden actions, like actions that are filled with desire, actions which say that I want this, so I am doing this. I want to achieve this in my life for my happiness, so I am doing this. So instead of that, focusing on actions that need to be done for the collective welfare of society, without identification of I am the doer of this action, because of me this is happening, and whatever results I get, I want to enjoy. Without this focus, focusing on on work for a higher cause. That is a better preoccupation than going after work which gives me something in return. Karma asha santyajyatam. Then again, Sangha Satsu is Satsanga is people like us, whoever on a par with us. Sat Vidwan Upasrapyatam. Reach a master who has studied the Vedas, studied the Shastras, and lives in accordance with the Shastras. A master who is a Shrotriya and a Brahmanishta. A Shrotriya is one who has studied the Upanishads, studied the Shastras. He has got hearing, listening knowledge of what it contains. Brahmanishta is one who meditates on what he has studied, and he is established in that Brahman, in that consciousness of the self at all times in his life. So approach such a master. And how frequently? Pratidinam, every day, if it is possible. It is very rare, but if it is possible, every day. Tat paduka sevyata. Paduka sevyata means worship his feet, meaning follow him. Like in Facebook, we know that word very often well. So many followers. For Tat paduka sevyata means pay attention to where he goes. Pay attention to where he stands. Pay attention to what he does. Pay attention to what he needs. Paduka sevyatam. What he or she needs. Such a master. Sevyatam. Brahma eka aksharam arthyatam. All the time, try to pay attention, focus attention on that one letter which denotes Brahman. There is a letter called Om, which is a combination of all the sounds in the alphabet. From Akaradi, Shakaranta, all the Shabdas, A, I, U, contain. And every sound emerges from this base ocean of sound called Om. That Om is nothing but God, the Supreme, Brahman. Brahma, Eka, Aksharam, Arthyatam. Arthyatam means seek that. Go on, try to contemplate on that, meditate on that. Tad japaha, tad artha bhavanam, says the Patanjali Yoga Sutra. It says for quietening the mind, for attaining that state of yoga and meditation, tasya vachakaha pranavaha. So it says focus on Ishvara, focus on Bhagavan, and it describes Ishvara. And the Patanjali Yoga Sutra says the name that we call Ishvara, we all are called by some names. Say Sharanya, I can turn around. Prakash, somebody will turn around. Krishna, somebody will ask yes. In the same way, when you want to call God, when you want to call Brahman, that supreme reality, you say Om, and Brahman will answer, yes, did you call me? So that Om, Brahma, Eka, even if there's somebody who loves somebody else, they will be going on repeating the name of that person. They will be calling that name of that person. They'll be thinking about the name of that person all the time. So in the same way, if you love God, think about God's name all the time. Brahma eka aksharam arthyatam shruti shiraha vakyam sam akaranyatam. So there are sentences in the Upanishads. In the Shruti Shira means Upanishad. Shruti means Vedas, that which are heard, knowledge. And the end portion of the Vedas, which means the culminating advice, the culminating knowledge of the Vedas is Vedanta, which is called Upanishad. Upanishad means that which brings me close to me. Aklishta makes me feel very comfortable, very joyful, makes me understand myself as I am without any distortion. the reality as it is, the Upanishad. So there are sentences in the Upanishad. Every Upanishad, for example, every Veda has an Upanishad which has this Mahavakya. The Mahavakyas are Aham Brahma Asmi. I am that Brahman. And the other Mahavakya is Tat Tvam Asi. That is you. Tvam means you is that Brahman. Then the third Mahavakya is Prajnanam Brahma. That Brahman is consciousness. Prajnanam Brahma. And then looking around everywhere, you see your own personality, your own self. You say, I am Atma Brahma. This Atma, this I, is nothing but Brahman alone. So these are the 4 sentences, the Mahavakyas in the Vedas. So Shruti Shiraha Vakyam Sam Akarmyatam. All the time, listen to the sentences, the great sentences of the Upanishad. And with this, we come to the end of this particular shloka in Sadhana Panchakam. We will look into the next one next week. Om Sarvesham Swastir Bhavatu, Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu, Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu, Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu, Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaha, Sarve Santu Niramayaha, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhag Bhavet. Om Asato Ma Sadgamaya, Tamasorma Jyotirgamaya, Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Boliye Shri Sadgurunath Maharaj ki Jai. Hare Namah Parvati Pataye. Hara Hara Mahadeva.